What's up, E.D.G family? Backer number one here. I'm kidding. It's Kevin with Eat Drink Game, the channel. We're gonna be talking board games. We talk tastings, and at some point we'll be talking some tasty recipes for game night. But today we are talking board games. We're talking Apex Legends, the board game. So if you're familiar with the video game, which I am not, forgive me for that. But this was a game that I wasn't necessarily gonna cover on this channel. I'm very selective about what I talk about when it comes to crowdfunding. They're always going to be something I particularly am interested in myself. This one I was interested in when I saw it, but I was going to let it pass me by, and we'll talk about why that was, and we'll talk about what changed my mind. But I'm going to go ahead and get us over to the Kickstarter page, and we can talk about it. Alright, so I have the preview page up for Apex Legends, the board game. This just started crowdfunding about 45 minutes ago. And like I said, I was surprising to myself, backer number one on this one. I don't usually get too close to launches to get that high, but I wanted to look at this page quite a bit before I shot this video. And I feel like I have. I feel like I've understand kind of what this game is doing. And, you know, maybe where I'm at as far as a pledge level. This, like I said, was not a game I initially had planned to do coverage on. I looked at Six Siege back in the day. It was also a video game IP I was interested in. And I was also interested in getting some kind of tactile skirmish game. But I don't see potentially getting this to the table a ton in a 2 to 4 player environment. It's not my gaming style. I need something that when I can't bring it to the table, I still want to get it to the table. This game has got a ton of table presence, as you'll see, and I feel like it's a big miss if I'm only bringing it out to be able to get these skirmishes in. Fortunately, a little over a week ago, they did announce a solo and cooperative expansion, and just like that, I was back in. So we're talking about this today. If you can see the page, we are about 50% funded right now. We got 633 backers, and I am not going to play the video. I've done that in the past. So we're going to talk about what Glass Cannon has done here. They have great coverage already on this game if you're looking through it for a playthrough. If you're looking for, you know, just a little bit more content, go check out Quakalope's channel. I didn't even see the Dice Tower coverage, but I'll tell you right now, I will probably look at that afterwards. I am a fan of Vassal. Seems like a pretty good guy. But this is Apex Legends, the board game. And as you can see, we have a whole immersive 3D environment that you'll be creating on your tabletop. Bunch of boxes, bunch of miniatures, and I think there's even some standees. I'm not sure what's going to be standee, what's going to be miniatures, but we'll get there. And the coolest thing about this is they're pitching this as having an innovative combat system. I'll tell you right now, this game doesn't have any dice. So if you're not a dice roller or you are a dice roller, this may change your opinion of this game. We're also going to have some asymmetrical, unique, legendary characters. I am not familiar with Apex Legends, the video game, so I'm not necessarily sure what all kind of abilities we're going to see. But from what I've seen with the characters, there are quite a bit of a variety. And then there's also going to be modular design, basically meaning we can change those boxes. We can reset a battle map, and there's also going to be a couple different game modes to play. So between that and the asymmetrical characters, there's going to be quite a bit here. It is a 2 to 4 player team miniatures game with the base box, but there will be expansions that will bring that number up to 5 and 6, as well as offering solo and cooperative expansions. Also be a couple different game modes, and if you back this now, you will get a free character, little Loba right there. So if you're gonna back this, probably better. I'm guessing it'll probably be $10-15. It says 10 euros, so 10 euros, 15 US to add that on to your pledge later. And then you know, they're talking about just kind of why you would want to back this now. You know, you're gonna be able to talk about this. You're gonna be able to vote for some new game modules, and you're also gonna be able to get this game earlier at a better price. So here is what we're talking about. They're getting quick to this. I kind of like the way they did this pledge, how they divided up these pledges. as far as what they're showing off, because everything on these pledges will be specific to that pledge, and then we'll just add on. So we're looking at that core pledge right now. Like I said, 2 to 4 players. We'll have Bangalore, I believe is how you pronounce that. He is a professional, she's a professional soldier. And then we will also have, we'll look at this for a minute. So you get your miniature, you're going to get a diorama-based card holder, which is, you know, pretty good-looking component. And then we'll have their own cards. So there's going to be cards that they can play throughout the game that kind of push their special abilities into the combat situation. And then some cooldown counters and just kind of everything you need to maintain your character. The next character will be Bloodhound in the core box. This is a technological tracker. Seen a little bit of gameplay of Bloodhound. Definitely looks unique. It's got some ravens that will kind of like scout and like ping, almost like ping the locations of your enemies. Kind of same thing, different diorama, and then got his own ability cards and cooldown trackers. And then we have Wraith, what is that? Interdimensional skirmisher. Very cool. So like I said, everybody's kind of got their own different class, different abilities. Very cool. And own dioramas, obviously. And then, like, I believe that most of these miniatures that you're seeing on the diorama are the ones that you actually put on the board as you're playing. So they're talking about, like, this Dimensional Rift 1 and 2 miniatures. Those will be with the character. And then Gibraltar is a shielded fort. Is that his type? Shielded fortress? Okay. So it looks like, you know, a very defensive type. Has a huge dome shield that's trying to show off. We got some bombardment miniatures. I like the miniatures that they have in addition to the character miniatures. They look very cool. Very cool. And then you get your board tiles. I don't know about this. I think they're all single-sided, but I kind of thought, you know, it's kind of almost a big miss to, like, just throw, like, a snow background on the bottom or whatnot. Maybe they plan on doing that with expansions. I don't know. But they'll have 15 different building and of different types, shapes. We'll have walls. They'll have half walls. They'll have some rocks. I don't think I've seen rocks and trees on any of the gameplays yet. They'll have some standee supply bins, some standee supply drops, some standees respawn beacons. I'm saying that because some of these get a miniatures upgrade. And then we'll have 57 large weapon cards, 38 small cards, 12 square ring movement. Did they show that yet? I don't think they did. An aiming board, and then some round trackers, entrance board, the legends boards. That's what I'm talking about. The shield dials, shield and health dials, as well as these 4 barrier miniatures, some 3 bags for loot tokens, 8 ammo cubes, tons of loot, different types, common all the way up to legendary. I'm sure anybody that's familiar with Apex knows what the huge differences are going to be on those different tiers. The Deathmatch mode loadouts, some ring and red, blue and red rings for marking your characters, and then your rulebooks, and then some custom components. So very cool. This has also got match settings books, so you'll have your core rulebook, and then you'll have probably all of your variants in one box, one book. So here is the next pledge. So you get all of that in the next pledge. This is the full team pledge. The biggest deal with this is it is going to add characters to be able to play this up to 2 to 6 players. That's quite a bit. And it'll have a full team expansion and Lifeline and Pathfinder Legends. There's something else I thought that was pretty cool in this. I don't know if it's a character specific, but we'll get there. So one of the characters is going to be this Combat Medic Lifeline. I gotta tell you, very intrigued. Combat Medic seems pretty useful for a skirmish game. And she's got her own diorama. Got a cool little care pack miniature, so I assume that's something maybe she can call in. And cards, ability, cooldown counters, just like the other heroes. And then we also have Pathfinder. He's a Ford Scout. And the cool thing I thought about him is he has, is it on there? Some zip line gun miniatures, as well as we getting some canyon titles. So that'll change up the look. Very cool. Probably have some, I don't know if that will restrict movement, how that works. The legend boards. And then also, in addition, we will have 8 3D board tile zip lines. Is that what it says? Yeah. zip lines. So, like I said, haven't played Apex Legends. I will say I am a big fan of first-person shooters, not of ever playing this one. Halo, Call of Duty, Destiny. I go all the way back to Time Splitters, and that's just not even first-person shooters. I'm a huge fan of third-person shooters. Gears of War, and more recently been playing some Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare with my daughter. But also, so that's pretty much what you're going to get in that pledge level, and I think that's where I am personally at. I'm not sure I necessarily care to do the gameplay all-in page, but that is 235 euros. 105 euros off MSRP. It'll be all of that gameplay that we've talked about so far, and then we will be adding 2 squad expansions. Squad 1 will have Caustic, a Toxic Trapper. Looks pretty cool. I like these little dioramas. I'm not necessarily sure if they're just to kind of hold your pieces when you're not using them, but I think those look kind of cool. Mirage. Mirage looks very interesting. A holographic trickster. Has its own little holographic miniatures. And then we also have Octane. Octane, the Adrenaline Junkie. Looks interesting. Don't see a whole lot with him. He's got some launch pads. That's cool. And then we'll have a Squad 2 expansion as well. Revenant, which is a synthetic nightmare. We also have Watson, a static defender. She's got some perimeter security miniatures, pylon miniatures. Looks interesting. Like I said, I may have to dive into Apex Legends, a video game, just enough to kind of figure out what additional characters I would want to add. We got Crypto Surveillance Expert. I'm assuming these are all playable characters in the video game. And then we have, after that, we have Supply Miniature Expansion. So these are going to be those little cash boxes. I've seen them on some videos. You open them up, they're half covers. When they're unopened or when they are open, but opening them up kind of shows they've been used. And then also we'll have some supply drop miniatures, I believe 4 of them. Yep, I haven't seen those in play yet either. And then these have been on there. They're 4 respawn beacon miniatures, so they'll be standees if you just get the core game. But if you upgrade either through the all-in pledge or you grab this as an add-on, you'll get these as well. And we have a playing mat, so if you want a neoprene mat instead of tiles, I don't know where I'm at on that. I have a nice neoprene mat. I probably will stick with the tiles. And then if you want to get the sleeves for, I assume, everything, I'm guessing this would be the all-in pledge to get the sleeves. Quite a few sleeves for, you know, price on these yet. We'll get there. And then tons of gameplay. Like I said, there is a lot of coverage already on this game. And so there are just a lot of gameplays, rules. And then we got some main features. So obviously having the unique legends, I'll tell you, there's some really cool animations on here, but they are hard on my browser. So some unique stuff that each one of these is going to have. Cards, looks, you know, components. And then, where we got? There we go. There's the cards. So you'll have unique cards that'll be there that'll give you special abilities that are, I believe, are most of the time one-time uses. But I did notice some of these are kind of divided in to different sequences, different times when you can play them, like pre-combat, post-combat type plays. I believe that's kind of maybe somehow how some of the reactions work. And then we have modular 3D game board. Like I said, I haven't seen too many layouts. I've seen maybe 2 or 3 layouts. So I'm interested to see what they do on some of these. It brings me to another point, but we'll get back to that. And that's kind of how the boards go. You know, they're gonna fold flat into the box. You don't have to build. I mean, you're building them by putting them together, but it's not like you have to fold them each time over and over again into a box, which I think will make the game last longer. So I do like that they did that system. And then they're also gonna be these barriers. If you're familiar with any kind of these battle royale games, your space always gets smaller. This is kind of their way of showing that. I think that's cool. It keeps you from not camping. I don't want to play a board game where somebody spends the entire game camping, waiting for me to turn around the corner. I cannot imagine how frustrating that would be. But so they're talking about the gameplay now. Gameplay, you're going to be moving, you're going to be interacting with objects like those caches. I believe also, like, if people drop stuff, you can interact with it and pick it up, trade, that kind of thing. And then attack, and you're going to be able to use your abilities. The combat system is, like I said, very unique. No dice. I do like it. See if it talks more about there. But yeah, you'll have instant and reactions on cards. Obviously, like I said, kind of play at different times. You got a free... I was trying to read that one, but lots of animation on this preview page. But here we go. We got some combat. So you're going to have different weapons. You're going to have weapons that you can upgrade. You can add, stocks to them. You can add different, I believe, barrels to them. Probably even potentially upgrade the amount of ammo they carry. I don't really know. I haven't seen a ton of that kind of thing. But you're going to take your weapons. You're going to have like a ideal range. And you're going to kind of use that with your range of sight. And you'll take penalties if you're outside of that range of sight. I believe there'll also probably be some upgrades that would, help you out with that, mitigate that. And so after you know how much damage you need to do to get a success with these cards, you're going to flip them over on this track, which is basically going to simulate recoil. It's going to simulate recoil to an extent. And so you're going to be trying to hit a number, and as you go further along, it'll be harder to hit that number. And there'll also be some special characters on those cards that will allow you to get headshots, will allow you to get like instant hits if you have a high ground tactical situation, and will also do the opposite. It'll make you miss if you're like shooting up low ground. So very cool, very cool. Like I said, very unique combat system. I'm down. I'm got a ton of dice rolling games. I'm good with a little bit more of a card system on this one. But here we got some gameplay from the Dice Tower. We also have what they're going to talk about, their different gameplay modes. So it looks like they have some training step-by-step ones for the different variety of gameplay modes. Right now, they really only have a couple they're talking about. I know that they are talking about adding more, but I don't know if that's going to be a part of this campaign or a future campaign. But we'll have Deathmatch, which is going to be more of a... I assume it's going to be just open. Was it team? No. We'll have Deathmatch. It's always going to be squad. But this is going to be more of like what you do with Call of Duty, kind of like setting up a loadout, getting everything ready, and then going out. Whereas in like Battle Royale is going to be a much more random. You're going to start with less. You're going to have to improvise a lot more. You're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to go pick up caches and kind of make use of what you have when you pick those up and in order to win. They say that the game's going to take a little bit longer, but I assume that's just because, like you said, you can't really plan quite as much. You kind of have to just go with the flow. And then there will also be, are we going to talk about it? Not quite yet. Not quite yet. So another gameplay video. I've not watched this one. This will probably be the one I'm going to watch with Tom and Z on the Dice Tower. I've watched one gameplay video on Quack. It's pretty good. And then multiplayer, it's fine. So they're talking about this being a cooperative game, basically saying if you're playing 2 players on one, you're going to have to pick legends that are going to work well together, and put a good team together that's going to allow you to go take down your enemies. But there will also be a solo and cooperative expansion. So I'll tell you right now, you got the full team expansion, which you can play 3v3, and then they're also that's part of that second tier pledge. But they also are going to have a solo game, and that was the huge turning point for me backing this game. I want something that I can table more often. Even if the solo game is not going to be my preferred way to play this, I want to be able to get it to the table between sessions. I want to be able to learn this game and be able to teach somebody else to play it, and I think that's going to help tremendously. They have brought in David Zerzi. Why am I pronouncing that with a C? Turkzy, and he has. I looked at his credits on BGG, and he has a ton of really good solo games. Some I already own, some of them I have backed, and some of them that are on my wish list. So I am very compelled to see how good of a solo system this is going to be. I'm definitely willing to give it a shot, especially if they are going to, promote it as much as they have, dropped it late, making sure, everybody that's a fan of this game, there's a piece for them in there. I greatly appreciate that. That was, like I said, huge for me to put a bunch of money into this game, to want to pick it up. And then they're just talking, that this is a game I could see, go into tournaments and stuff. And while we're here, I want to talk about this. There's been a lot of comparisons to this being a light tactical skirmish game. I mean, a little bit like what you're going to get with like a Warhammer game or something like that, but it also has a very strong board gaming feel, which is important to me because I tried to get into Warhammer in the past, painted a couple miniatures, read through the rule book, couldn't get anybody to play with me, and sold a bunch of it. So I am glad that this is one of those games that is still going to feel very much like a board game and not just a skirmish miniatures game. And so our goal and stretch goals, I don't think I got too much into this, but they're talking about they're going to expand this game's components. I haven't talked too much about it, but they're going to add new variants, game modes. They talked about capture the flag. That was definitely one. I'm sure there will be a control zone boss mode. That sounds like a cooperative mode. That could be kind of cool. But a bunch of different stuff in here. I like that. But it doesn't look like that they're going to use necessarily a stretch goal system. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. Nessie. I like that. Okay, and then there's a whole thing on painting miniatures. I've seen these painted. They look great. I don't know if I'll get around to painting mine when they come in. If they were to like maybe add a wash, I might consider putting that on my pledge. But we are at the add-on, speaking of which. So 20 euros for the Solo Cooperative expansion. That is pretty much a done deal for me. With whatever else I pledge, I will definitely probably be grabbing that. And then we have a game, the neoprene mat, I'm assuming. 20 euros for that add-on. You get rid of the tiles. But like I said, I feel like this can be one of those situations where they're probably going to replace these tiles giving different themes, and you'd have to maybe potentially buy more playing mats. So I'm probably going to shy away from that at the moment. But then we got the supply miniatures expansion, 25 euros. Definitely interested. And then I don't know if I'll pick up both squads, because I don't think I'll go all in, but I probably will at least pick up one of these squad expansions. I'm probably leaning more towards picking up Squad 1 over Squad 2. But I also say I might need to play a little bit Apex Legends, the video game, and get a feel for some of these characters before I make that decision. And then they're also having the card sleeves for 15 euros. They're talking about production. They're talking about 9 to 10 months. They're talking late spring 2024. That's fantastic. I've had a few things I've already backed this year, and I feel like that is hitting at a really good time slot for me where I may not have a whole lot come in. Obviously, things can get delayed, but I do like kind of spacing out my Kickstarters, my game founds getting fulfilled, with a little bit of space. I don't like getting a whole lot at once. And then shipping. Obviously, depending on how much you pick up, you're going to have more shipping. But they're talking at least for the US 25 core box and 30, what do they say, 32 for the full team, 40 for the all-in. There's all of your shipping prices, no matter where you're at. I'm thinking that's probably pretty reasonable. I don't know how big of a box this is going to be. I do know we're having a bunch of components. We've seen a bunch of plastic. It'll be a heavier game. And then here's some media. Feel free to share this campaign. Feel free to share this video. And support this campaign on here. And just a bunch of behind the project as far as talking about Glass Cannon Unplugged. They did do Frostpunk, so this is probably I think it was their second project, but also their second video game license project, so just something to think about. And we have a ton of, if you don't want to go necessarily watch content creators' content for Apex Legends, Glass Cannon on their own has put out a ton of videos, tons of interviews. I will probably link a couple of those in the description below, along with a couple of the other content creators that have some decent coverage for this game. And just a bunch of special thanks. So I am going to scroll back up, and it's going to take me a minute, because I'm telling you, this is a lot to load. Tons of animations. Look at that. This thing's struggling right now. So many animations right here. And I don't have really a whole lot open other than OBS, so it's struggling. But I'm gonna scroll this back up. We'll get my final thoughts and kind of where I am at on this campaign. Because I will tell you right now, 2-3 weeks ago, I really was interested in this game, but had kind of talked myself out of it. And there we go. This is where I'm at. This is exactly where I am at on this game. Full team pledge. This is where I'm going to be at. I don't see myself going all in on this. Mainly because I don't tend to go all in on things that I don't have a whole lot of experience with. If I'm picking up something that I'm familiar with the game, I probably will go all in if it's content I don't have. This, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much I'm going to table this. I am compelled that they are adding a solo cooperative expansion. It does mean I will get this game played more. I will probably get this game played twice as much because of that, especially for the first couple months. After I've learned the game, you know, I'll probably find a couple people that will want to jump into this with me. But that was kind of my, I don't want to go back to this game because it's got a bunch of bad press right now, but that was kind of my biggest issue with Six Siege, was I really wanted a Rainbow Six game. I really liked this huge immersive 3D world we were building on the table, but I did not think I would get the game tabled enough for what you're paying for it. It wasn't something I necessarily didn't want. It just was something that I knew I wouldn't get played as much as I get other games played. So that's where I'm in on that. Definitely gonna add the co-op solo expansion. Probably gonna add a squad to the game. But this is pretty much gonna wrap up my my talk on Apex Legends, the board game. If you are interested in this game, let me know. If you played Apex Legends, the video game, let me know maybe what characters I should potentially be keeping an eye out for. Maybe there's some of your favorites. I don't know. I will have to maybe experience that on my own. But this is definitely something I look forward to watching how this campaign goes. Like I said, it hasn't quite funded yet, but it's only been on here for about an hour at the time of this video, so I do expect this to get fully funded. I do expect to see some really cool new game modes before the campaign closes. And yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out my pledge, but obviously we got a PM for that. So I hope all of you have a fantastic day. If you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe. I have gameplays. I got a ton of stuff coming, board game wise, Too Many Bones, Final Girl, Moonraker, stuff like that. Unboxings, and probably, you know, a couple more previews in the next couple months. But until next time, much love.